How's it going, fellas? Today I have something a little bit different. Instead of a dish, I'll be showing you a basic sandwich bread recipe that I found from Brian Lagerstrom that I tweaked a bit. I'll leave a link to his video in the description and I highly recommend checking out his channel. To start, I'll add 430 grams of all-purpose flour, 60 grams of white sugar, 10 grams of salt, 5 grams of instant yeast, 130 grams or milliliters of warm water, 1 large egg, 45 grams of melted but not hot unsalted butter, and 100 grams of a baked russet potato that's been mashed or riced. Now we'll mix it on medium for a few minutes. The dough comes together pretty quickly, but it needs a lot of gluten development, so we're just going to leave it in for a little while. Once it fully comes together and isn't sticking to the sides anymore, turn it up to high and let it keep running. You'll know it's ready when you go to give it a firm tug and it doesn't tear. That's the best way to tell that the gluten is developed. Just be patient. When it's done, scrape the sides down and cover your bowl with a damp cloth at room temperature for about 2 hours. After those 2 hours are up, move the dough to a floured surface that won't move anywhere when you try to work with it. And fold it with the technique that I butchered here, but Brian nailed perfectly. Then put your shaped dough in a buttered or cooking sprayed bread tin. This sticks really easily, and if you want to save yourself from ripping your hair out, don't skip the non-sticking step. Then we're going to let it proof for another 90 minutes. After the second proofing, it's time to score. Optimally, you'd be using 2 hands so that the bread doesn't move all over the place and you don't mess up the scoring like I did, but it's all good. It just won't look as pretty when it's done. The next step helps a lot with bread making in general. Put the tin in something deep enough to hold water and add just a little splash. The steam from the water helps keep the bread slightly wet while baking to mitigate burning and a more even browning as well. Bake it for 30 minutes at 400 Fahrenheit. Halfway through, add a little bit more water if it's all evaporated. Just don't go overboard or the sides of the bread will start to sog. Flipping the bread helps for a more even browning as well. If it looks something like this, then you're all done. All that's left is to let it cool for a little while. This is a vital step for any bread. Once it's fully cooled down, you could slice the whole thing like a store-bought loaf of bread. But unlike the store-bought stuff, you know exactly what went into making this. It's really easy and it's just so much better. The added potato helps improve the texture, flavor, and even the shelf life. Just make sure you store the bread properly to avoid it going stale. I hope you guys try this one out, and thanks for stopping by.